the time. But it seemed like everything, like mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, was just like slowed down, was like part of my experience. And so in that sense, like it really reminded me of like, oh, I'm like on retreat. Like it was almost like I'm kind of like under at the bottom of the ocean, and like life is happening, and I'm like interacting with it from this other perspective that's like slowed down and spacious and like almost dark, and like kind of like, you know, the ground of mind, like emptiness is like dark before things appear. It felt like a kind of resting in that place, and also like a kind of being with parts of myself that are more buried, like more in the unconscious space. So like, yeah, and memories of childhood, I think that was a big theme that came up in our sessions, our group sessions, of like working with the core wound and like being invited to investigate like where are these feelings coming from. There's a lot of people were touching into like kind of core feelings, and I had a lot of sadness coming up, and just like recognizing like these early memories of being two and my brother being born, and the kind of like sadness and being told like you're the good one, you need to be happy, like for my parents, and how I like disowned sadness very early in life. But it was like a thread of my childhood for sure. In meditation, I would say like being like microdosing for 8 weeks felt like, in a way, like being on a meditation retreat. Like there was just a kind of like mutedness of mental noise, and I mean almost so much so that sometimes I couldn't, like I would be in a conversation and it felt like a lot of effort to like find words or to like carry a conversation, because like the silence was delicious, or the space between thought was like more compelling to me than Mhm. One thing that happened that was curious to me is I've been, for the last like 2 years, contemplating like what am I going to do next, and I've had this idea of being a psychotherapist and like not acting on it. And somehow through the process of taking Iboga, and like I went through like this process of clarity, and I finally like signed up for classes, and yeah, so that feels like something like a kind of breakthrough on like a more relative level, like trusting intuition and listening, and something was able to clarify in ways that like I would get stuck otherwise. Like this other part is like, no, I don't want to go back to school, and that part would win. Mhm, mhm. I really liked Vincente. I like just, I don't know, I feel like I've worked with American practitioners who aren't just nearly as direct, and I appreciated his willingness to like just say it, I don't know, and say it directly, and maybe that's his personality, I don't know. But that, yeah, there, I just felt like he was like really willing to like kind of go deep fast in front of everyone, um and like wanted to like kind of get to like the line of clarity. And I just appreciated, like I was a little intimidated too, and I liked that like feeling. I don't know, I feel like I work with, or have worked with, therapists in the States, and I don't know if this is like really worth saying it like that, but just like who are more timid and like want to be liked, or want to like make sure you're doing okay in this way that's not that helpful. So I was appreciating his like directness and compassion. I mean, there's so much compassion there, and safety, but also like a kind of willingness to go deep and like kind of cut through personality, ego bullshit.